Starting with the prompt here, we need data that is going to support the student's argument. And what is the argument? So let's start reading. The cane toad was introduced in the 1930s. Tadpoles have been shown to consume eggs of their own species. A 2022 study showed that when presented with cane toad eggs as well as eggs of a native amphibian, the cane toad tadpoles disproportionately consumed eggs of their own species. This behavior results from their attraction to this chemical that's produced by the eggs of cane toads, but not by the eggs of native amphibians. However, using data from the study, the student wishes to argue that the presence of that chemical doesn't entirely explain the tadpole's preference for certain eggs over others. So when we look at the data, we're looking for the idea that it's not just this chemical that's explaining why they prefer certain eggs. Now, when the chemical is there, they were eating a lot more. That's kind of undeniable. But the other thing we're noticing about the study is that for the remaining ones, they still were eating some more than others. And so there must be some other dynamic at play besides just the presence of that chemical. Because among the ones that don't produce the chemical, there are still some differences. And that's what we're looking for here. So A says the tadpoles consumed a higher percentage of the striped burrowing frog eggs than the dainty green tree frog. Well, is that true, first of all? Yes, because 10% versus 1%. And that kind of speaks to what we're saying, that there's some other dynamic going on that we're not aware of here. Looking at B, the tadpoles left a certain percentage of the eggs of each of the species unharmed. If they're treating each of them the same way, we're not seeing any differences, so we can get rid of that one. And C, the tadpoles consumed a lower percentage of the short-footed frog eggs than the eggs of their own species. Well, the own species has to do with the presence of that chemical. So that's not really the comparison we're looking for right now. That one was the one that we know is the case, and no one's arguing against that. D, the tadpoles consume the same percentage of the dainty green tree frog eggs as they did of the little red tree frog. So dainty is right here, little red is right here. And so seeing that they were consumed in the same amount is not telling us of anything that would cause them to prefer one versus the other. So that's kind of irrelevant to what we're talking about here. And the answer that made sense when we read it was A.